Were you here for the Granite Mouontain-Specuilator fire?
Yeah, I was here then, yeah.
What happened? What do you remember of that?
Well, it was terrible that man Stugan, he bulkheaded the whole group down in the mine down there. And they were in there with no lights or anything. They didn't dare use any candles or anything because they used up the oxygen. And they had pretty well bulkheaded. And when the fire was over, they came out the drift, you know. And they got out close to the station out there, and there was a man missing. So he went back looking for the man, and he never came out.
Do you remember all the men that were killed?
I remember all of them, you know, just what they said. You know, I didn't know them.
Did you go to the funeral home at all?
Oh yeah, my first cousin took my sister and I down to Sherman and Reed's. You know where Sherman and Reed's Undertakers was?
No, where was it then?
It was in the corner of Arizona and Broadway, and ran up to Granite Street. Afterwards, a few years back, Werner took it over.
What did you see there? What did you see down there?
Well, she wanted to see if her boyfriend was there, I guess. She took us in there, and we walked along with her, and she'd go along, and she'd lift the sheet. The bodies were all the way from Broadway up to Granite Street along the wall there, alongside each other, you know, just a space that you could go get between them. And she'd lift the sheet up and look at whoever was there. I don't think she recognized anybody. But when she went home and told my mother where she was, my mother was mad enough to kill her.
Was her boyfriend in the fire?
Her boyfriend went up there. I think he was something like a safety first man, and he went up there and he got into that fire, and he never came out.
So he just disappeared?
Well, his body was probably found after.
Yeah. What was his name? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Yeah. And when the bodies were laid out between Granite and Broadway,
yeah.
Was it 2 rows or 1 row?
There was 1 row along that wall anyway, going all the way up.
Were there a lot of people going along trying to identify their...
No, there weren't.
You were the only ones there?
There was only just a few of us in there.
A lot of the bodies were burned too.
No, they were burned, and they wouldn't. The trains wouldn't even take them. You know, if they were from someplace in the east or something. They didn't have sealed coffins in them days, and they couldn't stand the odor in the trains, so the trains wouldn't take the bodies.
What did they do? Just bury them all?
They had to bury them out here.
I see. Pretty sad day. Did you know Charles Hosworth, the mayor?
Yeah.
What was he like?
Charles Hosworth was a Republican mayor, and he wasn't a bad guy as far as a fair good mayor, you know. He had to have the people, the Democrats had to vote for him to get in, because there weren't very many Republicans in Butte. They used to have their convention up in as they used to say, up in the Success Cafe.
Well, he kept getting re-elected, didn't he?
He got re-elected. Yeah, they'd get re-elected, yeah.
He was pretty well liked then.
There was a couple of the cops here that tried to get Barry O'Leary, when he was mayor. They tried to get him off the job. And they said he was, the slot machines were illegal. And the slot machines were in all the bars in town. And anyway, they said, I made a complaint. Barry O'Leary was passing up the slot machines, and they were illegal. it was going to go into court anyway, but anyway, there was some officer died down in Anaconda. And the two men that were really raising hell here, they went down to the funeral down there. And one of them went into a house of prostitution there and broke the girl's arm. And geez, the Anaconda police arrested him.
Oh, jeez. Amazing. Do you remember Mike Mansfield?
Well, Mike Mansfield, sure, I knew him. I used to work with Jimmy Sullivan. Did you ever hear of Jimmy Sullivan?
No.
He was married to a Fleming girl, and they were over in 44 West Broadway. They had a rooming house over there. And Mike Mansfield was staying there, and he was at the School of Mines at the time. It's Tech now. And he was working in one of the mines up on the hill.
He was just a regular guy?
Yeah, he was a regular guy. Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Did you know Burton K. Wheeler?
No, I never knew Burton K. Wheeler. He owned the Grand Hotel.
Did you know Senator? Did you clean the Grand Hotel? Did you work in there?
No, I never worked in that hotel, no.
Did you know Senator Murray?
No, I didn't know him.
Yeah, what about Jerry Murphy, Jerry the Wise? Did you
Jerry
know
the
him?
Wise, oh yeah, I knew Jerry the Wise.
What was he like?
He was, well, somebody come into town here that he didn't like, he'd tell him to get going, you know. And now to come back, and they went to it.
Do you know, was he a Pinkerton in his younger years? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know that.
If he was?
I never heard that.
Well, he was pretty well liked, wasn't he?
He was pretty well liked, yeah.
And trusted?
In fact, Tim Dwyer's wife was related to, she was a Riley.
How were the Rileys related to Jerry Murphy? And then, what was your general feeling about the Anaconda Company?
Well, they owned everything in the whole state except the air we were breathing. They owned every newspaper except for the labor paper. And the Pink Reporter, of course, came out. Did you ever see the Pink Reporter?
Yes.
That was Tip Reynolds, I think, that had the Pink Reporter.
So they owned everything, but what did you think about how they did things?
They made, as the Forbes magazine said, they were the most mismanaged company in the world. They made big mistakes, and it cost them millions of dollars. They were down in Chile or someplace down there, and owned the mines down there. They thought they were insured. But when the government there closed them down, and they went to get their insurance, they found they hadn't paid the premiums on it.
I had heard that before, Yank. That's good.
And they had the copper tanks out there in Meterville. Did you see the copper tanks working?
Yes.
And anyway, they were going to move them. They were going to pump the water from the Tuolumne, I think it was. It was up near the Black Rock. And they were working down in the pit, and they're hauling the rock up there. They start building the shaft up high, because it was on the side of the hill there going down towards Meterville, you know. And they got the damn thing just about built up to the top, and all that rock that they put behind it, it slid down and over goes the shaft. So then they had to put in the pumps in up near the Kelly. They sunk in another shaft there near the Kellyford with the pumps. And then they went out, they were going to have two big shafts like the Kelly. One down in Meaderville and the other one out behind Walkerville. We were going to have the Rhine shaft out there, the Rhine mine. So they hired a great company from Canada to come in here and sink the shaft, you know. And so they surveyed it, and they raced from the bottom up, and they come down, and the two shafts didn't meet. So they never hauled a pound of ore or nothing out of that shaft. They never did work it. And they put another shaft that they were loading stuff up and down in Missoula Gulch.
You ever hear about